All right, welcome everyone to the show of shows, the show that you've missed for the past 2 weeks. Welcome to November 14th version of the Henry O Podcast Show, sponsored by Podbean.com for all your podcasting needs. Now be sure you subscribe and follow my dear old show, myself, at Podbean.com under WalkerAC76. Find me on YouTube at WalkerAC. I'm too bored and I'm too tired, too lazy to pick out an opening song, so we're going to get going. Now, today's topic for today, once again, we'll keep everything positive as always. There is a young man, I call him young because I'm old, that I have known for over 5 years, and he has been in my place of work. I've noticed him when I first started. And at first, when I saw him, he was doing my job without my shirt, and I thought he was crazy. I thought he was one of those people that I had to call the authorities on, and until I recognized he was just one of us, and to leave him be, as long as we give him coffee, he's good. Because I was terrified, because he's a tall guy, I'm a skinny guy, and he could have hurt me in many ways. And I met his son, who could eat me, and after a while I noticed they were good people. And they'd been with my company for as long as I can remember, even before me. And so I found him very intriguing, along with his family. They're a great group of people. So I will introduce to you, this is Rey Sr. I don't want to say senior, but this is Rey Sr.
Rey Dad.
Yeah, Rey Dad. And his Rey son.
Yellow.
And so I'm bringing him on the show today because, once again, I keep everything positive. I tell great stories about great people. And I've always wanted to talk to you for the longest time. Because, not to sound, schmaltzy or anything, but I see you as a father figure. And that's always I've seen you as. I've seen you walk around, the store and entertain people left and right, with your quick wit and your comedy. And I've seen Rey Jr. annoy everybody and their grandmother.
Damn straight.
And flirt with anything and everything except for me.
Hey!
Because I'm jealous. So, so we're going to start with, Rey Sr. Tell me about you. Please tell me about you. Scoot in a little bit.
Well, I'm a dad first and foremost, no matter what. Nothing else is important for me other than my kids, and that's it. I live for my kids. Everyone knows it. I was the sap at Lewis. Can I mention a school name?
Absolutely.
At Lewis Carroll, parents knew me. They says, "Oh yeah, you're the one that's always around." And I says, "Yes." And I didn't care. I'm the one bringing up my kids, not them.
Right.
So that wasn't an issue. And I thought I had a lot in common with Adrian, because Adrian is the same way. He's a sap for his kid, man, and so he should be. So I think that's awesome.
Yeah, see, I love something like that. Now, I know you don't want to talk about yourself too much, so we'll kind of we'll skip it on down to the road. Now, what made you go into this place of business, and what made you fall in love with this place of business, that I work at, and want to do the things you do?
Well, the funny thing is, I didn't start there. My father is the one that helped us to find the house on North Merritt Island, and he introduced me to Circle K. So that's where I was going. And when Circle K transferred, the little old lady that was the manager, she was as sweet and as nice as can be, I says, "Oh my gosh." And this young lady came in, and nice to look at, but she was just, I don't know, let's just say I didn't feel comfortable. So I don't know how or why I walked into Racetrack. And the people were always so nice. The managers were insane. And I just felt at home. I kept going almost every day to buy my coffee. And that was it. One thing led to another. It's been like 14 years now. 14, 15, whatever.
No, it's been like 16, 17.
Yeah.
It's been like 2002.
Yeah, because we moved in 2001.
Yeah.
May of 2001. So give or take 2 years for argument's sake, 2, 3. Well, yeah, 2, 3, and here we are in 18. So 15 years.
Now, see, when I started in 2013, and my interaction with you in the very beginning, like I joked about, it was different because I've never seen anything like you before. I mean,
a schmuck that can't stay still and starts to put his fingers in everywhere.
It was really a little funny little anecdote. Is I was never told about you when I first got started, and I got transferred to that location. Nobody told me about you. And when you would come behind the barista and get coffee, no. You would say, "Hey, get me 2 of these or 5 of these," and I would look at you really weird. And then, the manager, the other associates would go, "He's fine." I'm like, "Okay." once again, as time went on, the more I talked to you, the more I grew to accept the fact that you're just part of us, part of the family. And when you first started doing that, I mean, did you get the same reaction as I gave you, or?
Oh no, there was one time, this one young lady, and she became so sweet and so nice. She was living with her boyfriend, super nice girl. She moved to Texas, but when I first was introduced to her, she would watch me do these things, and she would grab things from my hands and say, "No, that's my job. No, that's my job." And I would look at her and just smile and says, "You know what, Ray? That's true. It is her job. Leave her the heck alone. Let her do." And then little by little, she saw me more and more. And she says, "Oh," and then we became friends. We would talk. I mean, I met her daughter. I never met her boyfriend. And it was just the weirdest thing. But at the very beginning, like your reaction, but she was more aggressive because she was getting paid to do what I was doing. So I was just some weirdo walking into the store. So yeah, that was very interesting. She's about one of the most interesting ones. There have been other people too that were very hesitant because nobody said anything, and they're right. They're 100% right. Who the freak am I to do X, Y, and Z?
Right.
So it was hilarious.
No, it's okay because, like I said, I mean, before and now when I've been with the company for over 5 years, and I see new people come into my store all the time, the first thing I tell them is, "You're gonna meet Ray. Ray's gonna come in with his coffee, and he's gonna get coffee. Don't bother him. Let him get his coffee. Let him do everything."
He's big and ornery at times.
Yeah, exactly. Let him do everything with his coffee. Leave him be.
Oh, that is so sick.
Now he's going to walk around the store talking to people. He's going to fix the store up. He's going to wipe down the counters. He won't touch food, but he'll do everything else. Just leave him be. If he needs help, he will ask for help. Get him his creamer, get him his sugar, get him his paper towels. Other than that, don't harass him. And people would think I was joking. Until you walk in, I'm like, "That's Ray." And then I hear, "I need 3 creams, 5 sugars." And I'm like, "Okay, sure, no problem. Get him that for me, please." They're like, "Who is that guy?" I'm like, "Don't worry. He's racetrack corporate. It's fine." And we've never had an odd interaction as far as I know.
No. Not at all.
Have you had any other any other odd interactions with employees?
No, with a guest.
I think I know.
You know about that. If you want me to,
By all means, I see. Okay, now
add to that, I will. No, needless to say, I don't even know the person's name, and I don't. But
so,
that was. It wasn't violent, but it was very odd.
Yeah. So we're gonna set this up here once again, my little snowflakes.
Little snowflakes.
I call my fans my snowflakes.
So then you can't criticize me for calling my kids munchkins.
Exactly.
Especially when they see the big one that's 6'5".
This
This man's definitely got a problem, that boy.
Just remember, all my snowflakes are all different because each snowflake's never the same. But to set it up a little bit, very rarely we have issues, when it comes to guest interaction with Ray, because you're such a nice guy, such a pleasant fellow. I'd never received any weird vibe from you, and neither have the guests. But on occasion, because this is a show, my phone is going to ring. We had a guest complaint, and as I turned off my phone because this is a live show, I will hand it over to you, and I will let you tell the story.
Oh, well, it was sad also because this gentleman comes into the store. He's wearing sunglasses, and he's got this cup in his hand, a racetrack cup in his hand, and he's walking around almost aimlessly. It was the weirdest thing, like he was in a trance, and he's just looking and walking around. And I said to him, "Sir, can I help you out?" And he looks at me. He doesn't say a word, and he just looks at me. And I says, "No, it's okay. I don't work here, but I've been here for X amount of years. I just, if you need any help." All of a sudden, he goes up to the counter and he says, he even used the word creepy. This was creepy that this man had asked me, why is he asking me that? I'm a businessman and this is very unorthodox. And he went on and on. And that's all I did. I asked the gentleman if I could help him out. And he was just walking around. I don't know, maybe he was having a bad day and he was just like in a trance. But one thing led to the other, and he actually complained to the manager and then later on to corporate. And I was stunned.
Yes, he actually called corporate on you. He's saying because the allegation was, and word allegedly, the allegation was,
oh gosh,
that
be illegal now.
That you made his wife and his child uncomfortable. When you approached them, trying to help them out, you made them feel uncomfortable. So he called and filed a complaint. Along with, he saw you wiping down the counters because he was not too sure if you were trained to wipe down a counter, which everybody and their grandmother does, and if you were trained to handle certain things, without gloves or whatnot. And he called it unsafe, and he called it unsanitary. And he filed a complaint against you. And our district manager Patrick had to get in contact with me, and I had to confront you and say, "Don't wipe down things anymore," which was so weird. But fast forward weeks later, we're back to the same old because that guy has a better sense.
He came into the store like 2-3 weeks ago or something, but you didn't say anything, and I didn't hear anything from anybody. But I wasn't really doing anything anyway,
Yeah.
But he did come into the store. But again, almost the same reaction. He just walks in. He's very solemn. I feel bad for the guy, despite everything he said and done. I really do feel bad for him because something is up with him. He has a rough life or something. So I feel bad. Not an animosity type of deal, but it's still, it bothered me because I had to pull back with some of the things that I was doing, which wasn't out of any malice. It was just to help you guys out. Sometimes you guys look like you're drowning because you're super busy. The store in the morning is insane, and with only 2 people, it's doubly insane. It's impossible.
And that's just something we're used to. I mean, we're just used to it. You go to any store of that nature, and you're going to find that you just get swamped. And for someone to really take the initiative that doesn't even work with us, that really can really care less about what we do. The fact that you come in almost every day and you help us out. Something I really respect. I really admire that. For someone to come in and complain that a Good Samaritan is really, helping us out, it really doesn't make any sense to me. I never understood it. I never figured it out and whatnot. But that's one of the main things I want to bring you on the show, is to really talk to you and get to know you, because we know of each other and all the weird stories we swap back and forth, and the other tales I can't really say on the show, and how entertaining it is. But what I'm going to do is I'm actually focus my attention to the younger Ray.
Yay!
Oh boy.
Now we're in trouble.
Yeah, and I'm going to ask him, what brought you in to the store? What keeps you coming back?
Well, let's see. Starting off with the fact that we've been going there since we were kids. When we moved here to the island back in 2001, my brother and I were almost 5 years old. We were completing 5 the upcoming month. My sister was 3. And we never really went to any of the gas stations with him because for the most part we were either going to school or just home. That was basically our routine. And over the years, we noticed that he would go to racetrack, he would take us with, we'd go inside, we'd pester him for a Slurpee, or eventually down the road I'd ask for a sip of this coffee, which is what I'm drinking right now. And we just kept on going and going and going and going, and it just became the gas station we went to. And then once I got my license and I purchased my old Explorer that I had, I had to figure out where I wanted to go. I'm just stick with what I'm used to. So I just started dragging myself to racetrack on my own and kind of became familiar with all the people there, all the management, the people who've come and gone, similar to what my father does, except for the fact that instead of helping do everything, I harass the employees the entire time I'm there.
Right.
And I distract them.
we won't say names on this show. We'll just say employees.
Yes.
So having said that, because once again, I've only known of you guys for 5 years, whereas you've been coming here forever. Tell me, what is one of your best experiences, with said place, and one of your worst experiences in said place? I'll let Young Ray answer first, because for those of you who can't see in a podcast, because this is a show you listen to, the elder Ray is waving his hand feverishly because he has a story to tell. But we're going to wait, and we're going to have a Young Ray tell his tale.
All right. I think it's more of I'm going to make you 2 short little stories. First one was back in the day when they had the barista stand. Mm-hmm. A long time ago, it used to be that they just had this big old back wall. And it was sodas and crackers and things of that nature. There was no entrance or door or anything along those lines. And then they demoed the entire wall, and they put this barista stand where they make smoothies, coffees, things of that nature, and my dad adored it. Because he loved his iced coffees. And that would be like one of our things. So I remember one time I walked in, and this was actually with my mother. And her and I were hanging out that day, and I'm like, I want an iced coffee. And I don't remember whether it was Courtney or which one of the girls it was who was working that day. And I said, I want an iced coffee with like this much sugar and all this other stuff. And they made it exactly the way I wanted it. I had it to myself because it was always the same exact thing. My dad would order his large iced coffee, and he'd grab 3 little cups, and he'd split it between the 3 little cups and give it to one to each kid. And that was always the way it went. Because, I mean, it's coffee. You can't be giving your kids an entire large cup of coffee and have them bouncing off the walls, which we already did without the caffeine. So he'd split it into 3 little cups, and we'd drink it. So I thought it was really neat and really special that I got my own giant cup of coffee to myself. So I think that was probably like one of the fonder memories. And then there was the one time I got really worried about racetrack. Way back when it was my freshman year of high school. It was right at the end of the day, we heard, everybody at the high school heard this loud bang. And it sounded like a shuttle would come back, but except when the shuttles would come, you'd hear 2 bangs, bang, bang, almost in straight concession, but all we heard was one loud one. And it turned out a gas tanker had gone over the side of the 528 bridge and blown up. But all we heard was something near the barge blew up. And for a frantic second, I saw racetrack fleeting. And like the entire thing up in flames. And I had no idea I think Courtney was working there at the time. And I'm like, oh God, I'm like, Courtney's got to be hurt or something along those lines. I got worried about everybody there.
Right.
So that's probably the one time I got like really concerned and freaked out about the racetrack populace.
So I will gladly turn my attention over to the older Ray, and I would say, give me your...
Call me older.
I said,
dare you.
I said elder.
Elder, did you?
I would say, give me your best story and your worst story.
No, worst. Well, worst is that.
Well, that
would have been the worst. You know, that was the saddest situation. But the funniest, and again, always gravitate towards my kids, is the same thing with the barista. The ladies that made the coffee. There was 2 in particular. One was an older lady, and the other one was a younger girl that was transferred later on to Orlando. Super sweet. She looked like a model. She was tall, thin as all get out. The sweetest girl, though. Did they ever spoil my kids? Oh my gosh, they spoiled them silly. They would make the pitcher for me, and then all the added would go into 3 cups. And one time, the older lady was there, and I asked her, would you mind giving me a cup this size for my kids? And then we'll divvy it up. This lady, you guys used to supply the customers with Ghirardelli. I think I'm pronouncing it right. The Ghirardelli brand, chocolate syrup, caramel. This lady took that, it was like a squeeze bottle, I think it was, or a punch, or anyway. And she loaded the drink up with caramel. Oh, my kids were ballistic. Each of them got a cup of their own. And they were the happiest. So every time this little old lady was a barista, my kids would get this monstrous cup of iced coffee with a ton of caramel. And you can even feel the caramel at the bottom and go like this and lift the spoon up, and it would just drip. That, to me, I'll never forget. I still miss, to this day, I miss the barista so much. That was brutal when they told us they were getting rid of it. And they used to cheat and go back there and still make us coffee. Because everything was basically gone. They had taken almost everything out, but they still had the Ghirardelli syrups and such, and they would still go back there and make us coffee. And they wouldn't even charge us because they couldn't charge us. It was technically gone. Oh, I'll never forget that. That's by far the fondest, and when the kids are small.
I see. I do have a fond memory of actually both of you gentlemen.
Uh-oh.
And I'll start with you. With you first.
How much trouble are we in?
Oh, no, wasn't that bad. Wasn't that bad.
Oh, for me, it's going to be
hell, yeah, for you, it's worse.
Is the police coming to my apartment tonight?
When the show's over. No, one good story I remember when I was first working there, and we had the coffee urns behind the barista, before the new coffee machines came through. And I would see you out of the corner of my eye, walk behind the barista and get your, get your new batch of dark roast. Because when it first comes out, that's the best. And I remember that because you always say that. So I'm like, I would have no issue with that. Then we were really busy, really slammed. I'm running around the sales floor doing my thing. And I see another gentleman go behind the counter and get hazelnut coffee. And I'm like, excuse me, sir, you can't do that. We'll get it for you. Well, no, he did it. I'm like, well, he's one of us. You can't go back here. And he got so angry. I never forget, he got so angry. And he's one of the normal guests that comes in all the time. And he and I had an exchange because he kept on saying, well, he can do it. Why can't I? I'm like, sir, I don't go to your job and flip the burgers for you. Just get out of here. And I looked at you. I'm like, oh, God. Whoops. Yeah, I shouldn't have said that. And so I'm like, okay, I have to be fair. I can't have him go back there. And no, I have to be fair. But, every so often, I will get who is that guy? Is he corporate? Yeah, he's corporate. He just walks around and stirs his coffee and picks up the store and, talks to people and helps people out. Are you sure he's corporate? He absolutely. Go up to him and say hi. His name is Ray. Nicest guy in the world, but he's our boss. And I have fooled 90% of the people that come into the store. They ask about you. Hey, is he here? I'm like, no, he's off today. It's fine. Oh, for corporate, he's the nicest guy. He is so pleasant. I'm like, yes, he is. I mean, he treats us well. That's why we're so happy here at Racetrack. So now I start to incorporate his kids. Your kids. When Rey Jr. comes in with his mug at the time, and he'd get his soda and everything, and people would look at me and go, why don't you charge him? Oh, that's the son of the corporate boss. I would never do anything like that. I love my job. Or Ray will come in, Adrian! I'm like, hey, how's it going? You know that guy? Corporate son. And he'd get his drink, talk for a few minutes, and leave. Not say a word. Like follow the employees around and talk to them, and guests will look at me weird, and I go, hey, corporate son. He's fine. He's just checking on us, making sure we're doing okay. And and that's why I just kept on going. And also on the other end of the spectrum, there was a story, and mind you, I've never seen you angry. Never seen you angry, because just like me, you never seen me angry.
Yeah.
Never. Unfortunately, there was a tragic event that happened, in your life. And we have this guest, I'm using that term loosely. He would come in, and we called him Red Cup. Once again, the origins of said Red Cup was this fellow. Well, here, tell you what, the views on this show are not mine or the views of the Henry Podcast show. So I will hush, and I will let Ray tell the story.
You want me to tell the story of the Red Cup in that day?
Oh, no. Yes. Now, granted, you don't have to get too deep into it. We'll just
I won't get too deep into it, but I'll get deep enough into it. And actually, ironically enough, I had an experience with Red Cup last night.
Okay, we'll go back to that.
A little background on Red Cup. I've unfortunately known Red Cup for years.
Now we have to explain to the audience who Red Cup is and what significance he has in this story.
Red Cup is this older gentleman who's an absolute creep, talks way too much, thinks very, very highly of himself, and thinks he's friends with everyone and has control in almost any situation. And unfortunately lives in my apartment complex now. And it was I'll put it shortly, it was the day my mother passed away. And I needed to get out of the house. I needed somewhere I could go smoke. And I didn't want to just sit outside my apartment and chain smoke Marlboro Reds the entire time I was there. So I went down to Racetrack. I'm charging my phone. And he had known that I didn't like him. Red Cup knew very well I was very distasteful of him. And I was never vulgar towards him. I never insulted him or anything, or made any form to try to have a conversation with him. I just made it known that I didn't care to have a conversation with him. I always kept things short and plain. Well, on this particular day, I was destroyed. I was ruined. And I was very upset. Adrian was doing a very good job of consoling me, and was trying to keep me up and while I was there hanging out. And here comes Red Cup. And he sees me standing there on my phone. He must have noticed I was there for more than 2 minutes, because that's about as long as it takes for him to approach anybody. And he's like, "What's up?" He just starts talking to me, and I'm like right now is not the time to talk. I told him, I'm not in the mood to speak. Like, please leave me be. And I'm agitated. I'm more upset than I am anything, but I'm now starting to get a little bit irritated. He's like, well, he's like, that's kind of rude to just not even reply to somebody. And now he's pushing my buttons. He's just like trying to like elicit an emotional response out of me. And
live show, phone ringing. Please continue.
And I remember he just kept on talking and talking. I just kept on telling the same monotone tone. Like, I've had a very horrible day. I'm like, I don't feel like talking. Like, I don't want to vent about it, the whole 9 yards. And my father knows this very well. I unfortunately in the past I've been known to, like, not like a violent person, but I'm very quick to talk back. I don't take criticism as well as I should, especially when it comes to people that's close to me. When it comes to like work and things, I always keep my mouth shut and I do what I need to do. But when it comes to like family or really close friends, if I've got something to say, I always say it, which is a huge problem. And I finally reached my boiling point. And I turned to him and I explained to him, I just lost my mother today. I'm like, it is her birthday. I'm like, and you're sitting here like harassing me, even though I've told you to leave me alone multiple times. I'm like, now I'm gonna tell you one more thing. I'm like, unless you want to taste your foot, I highly suggest you leave me alone. And he looks at me and he goes to say something else. And I think Adrian might have actually walked in on this and told him to leave me be.
Yes. I saw the look on your face, and I'm like, you need to leave him alone. And he made some face and walked away. Because I think I saved your son from going to jail because he would have murdered you.
I was to say I was like mad was an understatement. I mean, I was so upset from the events that occurred that day, and so like borderline on every aspect, that him just pushing me, even with all the self-control I had in this world, I was about to lose it.
And plus, I didn't feel like cleaning up the story anymore.
Oh yeah,
from the bodily fluids.
Oh, yeah.
But wait, I digress from that.
Yeah, the corporate guy's son just beat the shit out of that guy.
Yeah, see, of course, they're heavily frowned upon. Yeah.
Exactly.
but to bring it back to a lighter note in the story, and of course it goes back to, out of all the places I've worked, and of all the people I've seen, your family, your siblings have been the most entertaining, the most enlightening people of my day. No matter how much of a day I'm having, either Rey Sr. or Rey Jr. or your other brother walks in, or the very rare appearance of your sister, your daughter walks in, your family's always very happy, very jovial, like a very relaxed, group of people, that I thoroughly enjoy, just no matter what. And plus the fact, that you guys, gave me the honor and the respect to really listen to my show and download my show and actually give me feedback. That's definitely something I really, really like. Versus other people will listen to my show and they'll put them to sleep and everything, or just, bore them or something like that. My audience member is giving me the finger off, off screen. But let's see. One day we'll do a live video, and you guys will see, the reactions I get of things I say. But I mean this from the bottom of my heart, because once again, it's a very positive show. I like to keep everything very light, very funny. You guys are like my work family. Because I know if I have a day or a morning, I know I can go into work. And I can overcome anything, by seeing you guys walk in. Just a simple, Adrian, or you're a simple senor. You walk in the door. That definitely brightens up my day. And I really hate to disappoint. The people that I, that I really admire and I really like. So, of course, Rey Sr., I told you I had a surprise for you, but it hasn't arrived yet. Unfortunately, okay, a little backstory, my snowflakes. A little backstory. Me and Rey Sr. are two old guys, and we share a certain love for music. And we had a music exchange one day, and he was nice enough to lend me some music. And as he laughs at me off screen as I tell this story, he gave me a CD, one of his favorite CDs to listen to, and I put it in the bag after I listened to it, and I brought it back the next day in said bag, and someone threw said bag away, had amazing CD inside, and I felt really bad. And Rey Sr.'s been harboring this ill will towards me ever since I lost said CD, and he won't really tell me how he felt, but I can see it in his eyes that he laughs at me feverishly. So I ordered said CD, which will be here very shortly, because I felt really, did I mention really bad about it? Because I hate it when when I lend something to someone of value to me and it's gone, and all they can say is I'm sorry. So, so I will look at you, because once again you guys can't see any of this. I'll look at you and I'll say I'm terribly sorry. You entrusted me with something so personal to you, and I was so careless with said property, and it's going to be here in the mail very shortly, and yeah, you'll have your CD back, and hopefully you'll forgive me in the deepest, darkest points of your mind and not want to kill me. And so what I will do, the last portion of the show, I will give each of you the floor to say whatever you feel, whatever you wish, because you've given me the honor of inviting you to the Henry O Podcast Studios in my condo, and so give you an opportunity to say whatever you wish. Now, I will say, Rey Sr., the floor is all yours. We will all stare at you intently, waiting for you to say something profound. Keep in mind that millions and millions of listeners are going to download this show and wait for your words of wisdom. No pressure whatsoever. Just tell us how you feel.
They will all plop at the same time.
We're all waiting with bated breath to see what you have to say to us.
No more or less than thank you for allowing us to come to your home. Thank you for giving us your time, the beautiful words, the kind words, making me laugh, making me tear. I mean, give me a break. I haven't even had dinner. I'm surprised I'm not on the ground. So I thank you. And I will continue to harass your customers and get dirty looks even. I don't care. I have a good time. I'm hoping other customers have a good time too. And I hope to God that, wherever you do go, if you ever go anywhere, that we will always be in contact. I pray that that's always the case.
Absolutely.
And God bless your son too. I met him. I love his dreadlocks. I'm chomping at the bit to listen to his music. I had to say that.
Okay, very good.
Thank you.
And of course, this is the part before I get to Rey Jr. here. I am going to throw Rey Sr. under the bus here a little bit.
Oh no!
Because originally, when I came to him with the idea of the show, he was extremely nervous, and because he thought we were going to ask him about his life and to dip into his life and everything. And his first response was, "I'm boring." No, you're far from boring. And this is why I brought you on, because you have stories, just like I have stories. So I figure you'd be a great addition, to the world, to get to know who you are, and to come into racetrack. I'm saying the word, to come into racetrack and actually see you and experience, like what this man is all about. So now, and once again, I thank you for that. And see, nobody sees me shaking his hand, so I say thank you for that.
You're welcome.
And I will turn over to Rey Jr. here. And once again, this will be the fun part. I'm going to just sit back. I'm not going to have a censor button.
Take a deep breath.
Take a deep breath.
Listen to what I have to say. Oh God. I feel like I should liberate my First Amendment right and just go ham and make a bunch of random comments. But I really, for once in my life, I'm at a loss of what to say. I'm doing what my dad was expected to do the entire time we were here. I'll continue to keep coming to harass you, and unlike my father who harasses customers, I harass the employees. I'll continue to harass them and do what I always do, and swing by and wander around as people pull trash out, doing outside trash or lot sweep, and unfortunately the days of going in the cooler are over, because those were always fun days. And coming, grabbing coffee 2-3 times of the day. Whether it be always seeing Adrian there because apparently he lives there.
I have a cot in the back.
No, that's mine. He sleeps on the couch at my cottage in the back. It's like a little marsh. There's a hole in the fence. That's where I go.
He hugs me gently sometimes when he rests.
Very, very gently.
Yeah, very gently.
But first you say no homo.
I feel you judging me. Go ahead, finish.
But yeah, we'll always be coming there whether or not we're in this area, or say I go to college, or if I move away, I'll come back and harass you, and you'll hear me scream, "Yo, Adrian!" The second I walk in the store, your eyes will glint up and be like,
That's all I ask for.
Yes. Screaming, "Yo, Adrian," like I've watched Rocky a million times, like my father.
I'm used to it. I'm definitely used to it. And with that, folks, we do thank you once again for taking the time, taking time out of your busy lives to download this little bitty podcast that could, the show that you never thought you wanted to hear, but you are. We thank you once again for listening to the Henry O Podcast Show. And we're back next week. Now, my other show, that's hosted by other people, I don't want to even talk about them, Slacking Majestically, actually may have Rey Jr. on there because he's part of our ilk. So, and wait till you hear him uncensored and unscripted.
Oh, yes.
This is where his father cannot listen to the show. We will have a big warning on there because there'll be some colorful things on there. And, yeah.
A well-versed vocabulary.
Absolutely. Like my mother always said, the humor is in the dick and fart jokes. And she was a fellow Christian. So, thank you once again. No outro music because we don't need music to take us off the air because we're good people. Yeah, absolutely. We got copyright phrases. We're good people, and once again, good people. We don't need the music. So I thank you very much, and I'll see you guys next week.